Social media, the internet. Most of us, if not all of us, have come to use it at some point or another in our lives. From Snapchat filters to angry Facebook statuses or Googling answers for why the latest iMac doesn't work. We're pretty much used to everything that involves the internet, and that includes any type of social media, past or present. With that said, there are several things that we're also used to outside of it. One of those things includes misogyny and sexism. What exactly do those definitions mean? Well, misogyny means dislike, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. And sexism is similar, meaning that prejudice, stereotyping, discrimination is typically pointed against women on the basis of sex. It happens on a daily basis in workplaces, schools, grocery stores, even on the street. Some make me thinking, well, I don't see such things happen, or people overreact, or they're too sensitive, man. Misogyny and sexism can appear in even the smallest of settings, even a simple tweet. Some of those who claim that misogyny and sexism aren't as relevant would think otherwise if they were somewhat entrenched in the internet age that we're in, or if they simply pay attention to, sociology class or something. The origins of all of this traces back to centuries and happens to be deeply embedded within society. But that topic comes on another day. What we'll discuss today is how misogyny and sexism are openly exposed in social media and the examples that come with it. The internet is a lot of things, but a total friendly place for women that treats them with respect? That ain't the case. Let's take a look at a few personal exhibits. Exhibit A, the Instagram picture under the Sports Center page featuring the UConn's women's basketball team celebrating their championship win. If you take a scroll through the comments, there aren't many flattering things being shown or said. Exhibit B, when singer Kehlani addressed her love triangle rumors and suicide attempt in an Instagram post, singer Chris Brown reacted poorly towards her, in which many sided with him. And we all know how Chris Brown has some history with the mistreatment of women. Exhibit C, Grace Keating in her article for the Seattle Times mentioned how the page on Facebook called Slut had been liked over 500,000 times. Here's an excerpt from her article. She includes in that excerpt that misogyny and sexism has morphed into a cruel and powerful beast that's featured on Facebook and Twitter in the social media era. Exhibit D, an author named Laurie Penny, who is from London, detailed one of her experiences dealing with harmful hate towards her on the internet in her book, Cybersexism, Sex, Gender, and Power on the Internet. Take a look at this. The theme of some of the examples is that the heads or people high in charge do little and try to correct it, unless money talks. And what I mean by that, sponsors and donors get a hold of these large group of complaints and threaten to drop these social network corporations. It seems like a messy situation, and it is more than just people tweeting outlandish content all the time. It even gets personal. The rape case of Stuberville, which took place in Ohio of 2013, highlights that. 2 high school football players were convicted for the rape of a 16-year-old girl. One was sentenced to juvenile detention for a year in his role with the assault, and the other received 2 years for taking pictures and videos of the night when it happened. Only then to distribute it on social media. When a local crime blogger named Alexandria Goddard was compiling tweets, comments on Instagram and Facebook for the case, she found some other teammates saying comments such as, "She deserved to be peed on." Folks who take a part in any of this look egregious and they look shameful. What is possibly just as bad as, however, is noticing what's going on and being apathetic towards it. It reminds me of that Desmond Tutu quote that I enjoy so much. He quotes, "If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. If an elephant has its foot on the tail of a mouse and you say you are neutral, the mouse will not appreciate your neutrality." On a serious note, this type of misogyny and sexism that takes place within new media is not something you could just blow by and ignore anymore. Even besides the internet, it's everywhere. Yvette Cooper in her piece for The Guardian wrote on how a female comedian received 2,000 abusive tweets for objecting when a man's right activist called her darling in the TV debate. Some of those threats include violence and rape, and Cooper also highlighted that this isn't the only problem with public figures to deal with. She writes, I've heard stories of teenagers who have stopped going into college, women who have withdrawn from social media, or been forced to change their work after being bombarded with online threats. Think about it. How many Instagram posts, for example, do you see daily that will fall in line with some weird type of logic where they place an absurd amount of standards on women and objectify them? It's a strange thing. Like smaller scale things like these. Or you probably don't even notice the, YouTube comments under, say Hillary Clinton's recent speech, or a Serena versus Sharapova match, or a Michelle Obama PSA. If you haven't seen those comments, don't read YouTube comments in general. YouTube comments come from a different dimension. The mistreatment of women translates itself from any subject straight into the web, whether it's politics, sports, music, science, the list goes on. However, women are using this platform to, push back against these annoying and terrible acts in a positive way. For example, the anti-street harassment group Holla Back created an app in which folks can document, map, narrate acts of street harassment in which people have been targets or directly witnessed it happen. On Tumblr, there's a blog feature called STFU Rape Culture, which means exactly that. The theme or goal of the blog is to denounce the values and ideas surrounding rape culture itself by the means of humor and what Susan Douglas describes as energizing feminists. Folks, including myself these days, are more aware of the daily sexism and misogyny that takes place on the web, speaking out against it instead of ignoring it. Sometimes folks, men and women included sometimes, just tell women how they shouldn't be sensitive, or they just realize it's just a quote or a joke, or quote unquote, it's only Twitter. This isn't the case for everyone. Everyone reacts differently in situations, and to tell a woman, some who you don't know, that she shouldn't be sensitive to stuff like this is high key, not a good idea. So yeah, women go through a lot in today's world, in the physical and virtual forms. And imagine how it is for someone like a woman of color. They get it twice as bad. Why? Because they're a woman, and because of the color of their skin. So let's do our part and do our best and ease up on it a bit, shall we? Now, nobody's saying be nice to them forever, regardless of what they did wrong or whatever. Although some women would like to appreciate that. But I'm saying, if you see something happen, tell them to stop. Tell them to can it. And don't be that creep that goes into somebody's DMs over and over and over again. Because doing that is the equivalent of, back in the old days where random people would wink and whistle towards women in the street. Misogyny and sexism is alive and well. And if you don't know, thanks to social media, now you know.